How do you, Mr. Jackson, how do you feel about the One Newark plan? And after he responds, I can respond as well.
One Newark plan. For one, we need to understand that it wasn't created by students, it wasn't created by community members, it wasn't created by educators. This was a plan that involved absolutely no one from the community. I'm going to be quite honest with you. This is something that caught me, and I'm going to assume that speaks for almost everybody in the room and in the community, by surprise when this plan was rolled out. And, you know, it's funny that they want to call it rolled out when it just popped up out of the blue. No one knows about it. I guess you can understand by my speaking that I do not agree with the One Newark plan. Closing community schools, phasing out schools, telling parents that you now have to apply to this school. Well, now this school doesn't accept your grades, and then you have to apply to another school. These are the schools that you can go to. You know, that's not really a choice. If you're giving me a choice, but you're telling me I can't apply to this school or apply to that school, you know, I'm kind of left in the dark. So, you know, we need to call it for what it is. It's not a One Newark. It's not a choice. This is yet again, unfortunately, nonsense. For lack of a better word, you know, it's also information out in the community that parents haven't even gotten their matches yet, and here we are, nearing the end of April. People still don't know where they're going the next school year, and the community is yet again still left out in the dark in what's going on because we're being sprung up with new information. Just recently, we've gotten information that parents are going to have to pay for summer camp programs throughout the Newark Public Schools because those services won't be offered free anymore. They're also closing more than half of the summer school sites here in the city of Newark. So don't agree with the One Newark plan because it didn't involve the community.
The One Newark plan to me is something that's irrational. I really don't understand it. Only the person that came up with it understands it, and it's in their mind, and I don't think it's something that benefits everyone because, as Mr. Jackson stated, it didn't include, no one was included in that decision-making process to come up with something like that. It doesn't even make any sense. From what I gather, you apply to 8 different schools. You put 8 different schools on an application, and somehow, some algorithm places where you're supposed to go. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. It really doesn't. So I think there should have been more explanation behind it before it actually went through. And I think that was also something. Now, if I was on the advisory board, I would have had more questions before that even, like I said, existed. And if it went through without me even supporting it, I would have made that known, and I would have told parents don't do it, because if no one fills out the application, how can they implement it? But if you have a couple of thousands of parents that filled it out, that looks like that's something that they want. So, and once again, that goes back to why I'm running, because I'll be able to give parents that type of knowledge and information and empowerment to tell them, if you don't agree with it, don't fill it out. What can they do if no one fills anything out? They cannot move forward, and the plan wouldn't even exist. But I think that was just, once again, the board being lackluster, the current board being lackluster, and not reaching out to those parents, because a lot of them don't even agree with it. But for some reason, it's here and it exists, and some parents fill out the application, which I think is terrible. So, yeah, we need to start having people on the board that can actually empower parents and give them knowledge and information for them not to sign things that they don't even know about. Even me as a parent, as an aunt, I have cousins, well, nieces, nephews, and cousins in the Newark public school system. And I told my relatives not to do it, and they didn't. So we'll see what happens with that.
alternatives to that, I'll look at each one to respond like in 1 to 2 minutes. What is the alternative if you do not want to have the One North plan? As a candidate who's running, what do you think that you should do in response to the One North plan? If you don't want it, then what should we offer to the community? So in like 1 to 2 minutes, I'm gonna start off with you then, Mr. Jackson.
Okay, I think the One North plan should be scrapped completely, just thrown out. It just doesn't make any sense. Why do we need a One North plan when we can enroll kids in schools that the neighborhood is in? That doesn't make sense to me. So you're telling me that, you know, you put a list of schools, you apply for different schools across the city, but you got a school right down the street. I don't understand why the kids can't go to the school in the community. So, I mean, my alternative would be to provide the school that's in the community. Like the ones they shut down, we need to go and repair them if that's the reason why they shut them down, and check into that. Because, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it.
So traditionally, it's been you send your children to the community schools, and I think we should go back to that plan. If they say if it's not broken, then don't fix it. Some would argue that it has been broken. Some neighborhood schools haven't been performing, and agree with that 100%. So in the interim of that, I do agree with having some type of choice. You know, say if you don't necessarily agree with this community school, but you have another public school that's, say, a few blocks down, you want to send your child there, you should be able to send your child there as well. We need to also look into the factors that, you know, that are there that make parents don't want to send their children to the school. Well, why don't the parents want to send their kids here? Well, maybe because they have a problem with the teaching staff, maybe there's not enough teachers, maybe it's not well resourced. Okay, because I think we kind of drive away from the actual issue when we look at parents not wanting to send their children there. Instead of us advocating for creating this new school or creating this new initiative, we should try to focus our resources into fixing the public schools and what, you know, trying to fix why parents don't want to send our children there. So if we look at those issues and we realize 100 excellent schools, as the superintendent would say, then maybe we wouldn't have to worry about how our children, you know, our parents sending children to charter schools or sending them out of district, because we'll have the well-funded, the well-resourced public schools that we want. We'll have the schools filled with highly qualified and highly effective teachers that we all want.
Thank you. Thank you for the responses. One of our